Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Masterpiece Lounge. I am your hostess, certified life coach, author, and speaker, Chris Natha DeRozier. Super excited to be back with another segment. So, if you are new here in the Masterpiece Lounge, welcome. This is our safe space where we talk and have incredible conversations that are super insightful to help our personal and professional lives move forward. And today is no different. So, as you've already seen by the title, we're going to be talking about accountability. And I think this is going to be so important because it's not necessarily talking about accountability um, in terms of keeping other people accountable, but we're talking about how to keep ourselves accountable because self accountability is important. All right, so let's be honest. Holding yourself accountable can be hard, especially if it's something that you're not accustomed to already doing, right? But it is important and it's necessary for your success. Studies have found that people prefer to shift blame from themselves to other people, right? I did this because this person made me do XYZ, right? And that what happens with that, it makes it natural, right, for us as humans to avoid responsibility, but that is not okay. That is not what we're supposed to be doing. So it's a habit that many of us human beings, right, we have formed. Um, Feels like mistakes are never our fault. And yes, mistakes happen, but we have to be accountable. It's a valuable quality. It furthers our personal development and it makes learning from setbacks easier. All right. And so we're going to talk about accountability and some ways that we can start to take accountability for ourselves and our lives starting today. All right. And then what does self accountability mean? It's taking responsibility for your actions and your behaviors without blaming other people. So stop shifting the blame. All right. It means you're fulfilling your obligations, your tasks, your goals without excuses. And if something doesn't go right or as planned, you're able to say, that's on me and I need to do better, right? Instead of saying it's someone else's fault. Now, unexpected challenges does come, but you got to be accountable. Focus on a solution, be solution focused, and stop pointing fingers. Okay. Accountability is actually closely related to self discipline because it demands that we remain honest about our actions and our intentions. And so this is going to push us and stretch us to grow. But that's exactly what we need, right? And so let's talk about an accountability example in action. So, for example, your team member asks if you can cover for them while they're out of the office for the week, right? You agree, but then a client issue comes up that demands all of your attention. When that coworker comes back, some of their deliverables are late because you didn't do the work that you promised them you were going to do. So instead of blaming the client's emergency or your workload or saying it's your coworker's fault for not being there in the first place, right? Um, why don't you just apologize for dropping the ball and letting them down, saying, my fault, right? That was on me because I promised to do it. And then together you make a plan to complete the deliverables together, right? So that's just one way to handle that. Let's talk about some benefits of accountability. Greater self awareness, right? And so you'll have an easier time finding patience with yourself and feeling in control of your life when you can understand and accept your actions. Another benefit is better goal setting, right? So self accountability also helps you prioritize working towards your goals and it allows for greater productivity as well. And another benefit is growth mindset, right? It encourages you to be open to learning and developing rather than staying in the same place. Also, increase self confidence. So, learning more about your capabilities does build your self confidence. And another benefit is being more motivated. So, your motivation grows after reaching certain milestones, and then that fuels your drive to set new goals for yourself. All right, so let's talk about 5 tips that can help hold you accountable. The first one is to start small. Don't expect to become a self accountability expert overnight. It takes time. But you first have to be aware and start small. So as you're practicing this, you're starting this practice, take time to understand why. That's going to be very key. Why you're trying to be accountable in the first place. What are some tasks that I can do to get started? So set some short term goals, right? Be kind to yourself, give yourself some grace, but be focused on the mission ahead. The second tip is to set goals. And the reason why goals are important because it forces you to own what you set out to do, right? Once you set a goal, whether you've reached it or you didn't, you have to answer to yourself, right? Why didn't you do that? And you have to be honest about that. And so use the SMART goal setting method. Make sure your goals are obtainable, that they are measurable, and that there is a reasonable timeline on there. Number three is create a schedule. It's time to get organized, y'all. It's time to get organized. Create a schedule. It creates a sense of control and accountability for your life and how you spend your day. You need to understand what your schedule looks like. We know things happen all the time, but you need to have a good understanding of what your schedule looks like, what you plan to do, what you're setting out to do, right? Plan ahead. Things will pop up. Leave some room for just life to happen, but you need a schedule, you need a plan. The fourth tip is to reward yourself. All right, this is not about being hard on yourself, but it's about doing the work. So make it a habit of celebrating your wins, regardless of how big or small, and take a moment to reflect on how far you've come and what you've learned after each milestone. And lastly, number five, have an accountability partner. Who can you talk to about this, about your goals, to make sure that not only are you setting yourself up to be accountable, but someone else is checking in and watching and making sure that you're setting out to do all the things that you said you were going to do, right? Because sometimes we need a good check in, and that helps with our accountability as well. And so after today, segment, the goal is for you to start seeing where you can be more accountable in your life and to start taking action now. So I'm excited for you. You now have the tools, you have the information. So guess what? Self accountability starts today. No more excuses. Do what you set out to do. And if you make a mistake, if you fall short, dust yourself off and let's try this again. But you cannot quit because your future self is counting on what you do today. All right. I'm your certified life coach, author, and speaker, and your hostess of the Masterpiece Lounge, Krishnatha DeRosier. And if you're in need of getting those goals set and start getting accountable for your life, right? That self accountability. Let's get in contact. Let's chat, and I'd love to work with you. Guys, thank you for hanging out with me today in the Masterpiece Lounge, and I will see you again very, very soon. And until then, be well. Take care.